Welcome to CBSE English Tutorial, a visual guide.
All right, gearing up for your board exams? Then you know the enemy is a big one. So in the next few minutes, we're going to break down exactly what you need to nail any question on this story. Let's just dive right in. So let's get straight to the point. Every, and I mean every, long answer question from this chapter really boils down to one single central conflict. If you can explain this one thing, you are well on your way to a fantastic answer. So here's how we're going to tackle it. We'll start with that core dilemma. Then we'll see how it puts the characters under pressure. After that, we'll unpack the big theme, and we'll wrap up with a super practical guide on how to actually write your answers. Sound good? Let's go. Okay, first up, the doctor's dilemma. Seriously, think of this as the engine of the entire story. If you understand this conflict, you understand why every single character does what they do. So, let's set the scene. It's World War II. You've got Dr. Sadao, this brilliant Japanese surgeon, and one day he finds an enemy soldier, an American POW, washed up on the shore, barely even alive. And that one moment, well, it changes everything. And this is where it gets really complicated for him. You see, he's being pulled in two completely different directions. His training, his very oath as a doctor, is screaming at him, "You have to save this life." But his duty as a patriotic Japanese citizen during a war, that's telling him, "You have to hand this enemy over." So that's the heart of it right there. This massive clash between his personal morality as a doctor and his civic duty as a patriot. Every single choice he makes from here on out is a result of this crazy internal battle. So what happens when you put people under this kind of intense pressure? Well, you get to see who they really are. Analyzing characters is going to be huge for your exams, and this dilemma is the perfect way to do it. Dr. Sadao himself is just fascinating because he's full of these contradictions. You know, he's a true patriot, no doubt about it. But he also studied in America, which gives him a wider perspective. And in the end, when push comes to shove, what wins out? His professional ethics. He just can't let a man die when he has the power to save him. And then you have the general. He's the perfect contrast to Sadao. You'd think a general would be the most patriotic guy in the room, right? But nope. His only real loyalty is to himself. He forgets to deal with the enemy soldier, not out of mercy, but because he's terrified of losing the one doctor who can keep him alive. This really shows you the difference between true duty and just plain old self-interest. And all of this, Sadao's struggle, the general's selfishness, it all points to the central theme of the story. This is the big idea you absolutely have to talk about in your essays: humanity versus nationalism. I mean, that's really the question the story is asking, isn't it? When your country labels someone as the enemy, does that erase your basic human connection to them? Dr. Sadao's actions pretty much scream no, it doesn't. For him, compassion and his professional code are just stronger than the hatred of war. And here it is, the perfect quote to back that up in your answer. In that critical moment, the American wasn't an enemy. He wasn't a political foe. He was just a patient, a person who needed help. That's the core of the whole story. So what's the big takeaway here? It's that the things that connect us as humans, like compassion, kindness, our professional duties, they run so much deeper than the temporary lines that war draws between us. Okay, so you've got the conflict, you understand the characters, and you've got the theme. Now for the really practical part. How do you take all this knowledge and turn it into an answer that's going to get you top marks? Let's look at two classic questions you could get. First, justifying the title "The Enemy." The easy answer is the American soldier, but the great answer goes deeper. It argues that the real enemies are things like war, prejudice, and nationalism. For the general's role, you've got to frame him as that contrast to Sadao, showing how self-interest can hide behind a mask of patriotism. And here you go, a simple 4-step recipe for the perfect answer. 1. Give a quick summary that's relevant to the question. 2. Analyze the character's motivations. 3, and this is so important, always connect it back to that big theme of humanity versus nationalism. And 4, prove your points with some solid quotes from the text. Follow this, and you'll be golden. So we end up right where the story wants us to be, asking this one huge question. After everything that's happened, after all the risks Dr. Sadao took, who is the real enemy here?
And the answer the story gives us is, well, it's profound. It's not a person. The real enemy is war itself. It's prejudice. It's any force that tries to make us act against our own humanity. And that is the powerful idea you want to leave your examiner with. Good luck.
Thank you for watching. See you again in a bit.